Okay. I figured that out. I think yesterday or the day before. Okay, so do is not just the
Go A and C, y'all. Howdy, howdy, Howard. This is Paul. For those of you along, if you want to ask questions over here, awesome, possum. Make sure our instrument's tuned. As you can see, I've got a 5-string. He's got a 4. I'm just not going to be playing on my 5th string. If it gets to be intrusive, try to just see it as being the 4. If you've got a 5-string, do all these exercises on that lowest string as well. There's no reason to omit it. So I don't want to be too loud, but I want to have some sound. Can you go ahead and show us what a spider exercise would look like at maybe like 50-something beats? See how he kept going with that, folks? That means that when you're going through the process of hearing these notes going up through, I want to hold each one out for the duration of that. So if we're doing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, I know it feels boring, but what happens is you're going to use the first finger on your plucking hand, and what happens, that first string you do, so you're going to be playing the 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, and 4th fret, and then you're going to go up to that 1st fret again. And remember to switch from the 1st finger over to here. Here's where the greatest part comes in. When you're not playing on that E string, you can actually just rest your thumb on that string like a bird sitting on a wire. How has that helped in the last 2 weeks just to get that thumb out of its awkward stage?
It helps me understand where the string's on, and for some reason it makes my left hand know. It makes my brain understand where my left hand should go because my right thumb is on the string above.
Yeah, and you're not so much thinking about it anymore because you've just set your own pattern on to how to just recognize it by feel. That's really what a lot of instruments are. You have the core curriculum of understanding what a note is, what a duration is, tempo, time, the frequencies. But after that, it's really just putting all the concepts together to make fun music and have a good time. These are just practices called the spider exercises. The reason why I do these, they get the muscles in your hands all warmed up. This is what I do to practice before I start playing with any group. It warms up my whole body. You don't always have to do all these with the things. You could actually turn around and do these other fingers. So throughout the time of practicing, keep these guys going. Get them at a standard beat where every note comes through. So you could have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4. When you practice alternating these 2 fingers, like we're about to talk about, you develop this sense of walking the bass, which is essential for doing a lot of bass work. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that concept. You can mute this bass here by not pressing down, just holding. You can do either way. Wonderful. Can we just pluck that first string? What I'd like you to do is kind of overdo it. Lay your hand down flat on here, bring your finger back, pull it so it drops back through. Wonderful. And since we're not actually just playing through, put your hand over here and just mute it. Ready? Feel that?
Yeah.
That's the tone we're going for. You don't need to be plugged in to practice rhythm. So this is what it's going to feel like. Can you do that with me? Nice. Now, as if we were playing the Spidey exercises. Wonderful. Now, do me a favor. When you're doing this, let the finger. How does that feel?
Better.
Interesting, huh? There's only that much space, like the width of a fingernail, right? So what in this exercise, you're training your brain to know exactly how far away the spaces are between each one of these strings. And when you get to a point when you're doing like arpeggiated nonsense based off of pentatonics, you can have different structures. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take the core idea of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and we're just loving your thumb work. Sorry to talk to you. The first finger. So yeah, there's just a little. Let's walk it up, not using this hand. Let's mute it really quick. Just give me a little something. Now we're just gonna do those walks. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Weird. For those of you at home, we're just walking the bass right now, but believe me, when you speed this up to anything other than 40 beats per minute, you're going to be flying through these notes. We're either going to try blues or we're going to try like some B string. So what we were talking about was how C major, and then to know that its octave is up here. So what happens is when we go a whole fret away, a whole string, and then over a string. So we play on the A string, skip the whole D string, and then we play the G string at the 5th fret, beginning of like popping and bass thumping. The idea is you take your hand in a motion and come back. Sometimes leading into it, like a half step down, and going to have a, yeah, it's really awesome. One of those little things that just kind of manifests after. C major has 2 ways of playing. I got little bitty fingers, so I sometimes tend to do 2 notes with 1 finger. If you practice playing a little easier up top because the fretting is actually a little smaller. Spacing, it's a little bit of a stretch, even for so practice on doing those. And remember, this chord C comes finger on the D string, but it's going to play E, so that's 2 E's, and then it plays on the 2nd fret of the G string, which are 2 A's. So 2 A's make up my A major. I know that there's no 3rd in there, but that's what we're going to talk about right now. So in the key of C, we've got these notes. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again. You get from this note to the first finger, and then on the fret right up, step away. You get the same note, different finger, got it. Moving to this next note, what I notice is I have to go backwards. So rather than going backwards, I think, can I start my C major phrasing off with my 2nd finger? So if I were to do this and go from C to D, C to D, right? Just using the technique we learned this in the beginning of this. Boom. And even C, D, C, D. What we're quite literally doing right now is teaching our brain how to play a C and a D right after each other. Boom, boom, quarter, quarter. So it attacks 2 things at one time. It has using the 1st finger and using the 2nd finger at the same time in motion. One of the things we do for rhythms is we do alternating notes, like and that would be a driving bass line. Nice. And then right below it, where's your C? Cool. So right below. There we go. And then, because I know my phrasing is going to be, and it feels much better to go boom, boom, than have to go and then go backwards. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the reason why we learn 3 different sets of scales for the same thing is to use it in different places. And believe me, when you practice them for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night, in 2 years from now, you're never going to remember you did these lessons anyways, but you will have a full skill set of being able to play in every key. Because playing with our 2nd finger, and we're going to go to our 1st finger on the string right above it on the D string, and then we're going to do a big stretch up a minor 3rd. So let's do our spider exercise all the way up. Last step. So 2 minor seconds make a from C. We're going to its 3rd, which is E, and we go all the way up to the 5th of the chord, which is a G. If we use these with our walking bass, we would have. Now that we got that, church, that's it. So then the next thing we're going up to that 2nd fret again. approached that weird string yet, but it's there, I swear. Ready? 1, 2, ready, and go. C, E, G. Let's do it from really slow. C, G. Ooh, we're omitting that. Yeah, we're just going to that third there. Ready? Sorry, we started with 2 different concepts. Again. Yeah. Now they're familiar. 3rd fret, 2nd fret, 5th fret, 2nd, 5th fret. Now play that whole thing backwards.
Backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, and then back to your C. Watch the practical application. Both of those today. So C with the 1st finger. Our 2nd finger is going to play the E.
That's 1st.
I'm sorry. I'm talking our plucking hand. I could write it out too. That'll take a minute. 2nd finger on our chord hand, and then on our plucking hand, we're going to be playing the 1. So just so I'm not confusing anybody out there as well, sorry about that. We're going to always go 1, 2, 1, 2 to infinity for these lessons. So when I'm talking about fingers, I'm going to be talking about my left hand, your chord making hand. Ready? So 2nd finger, and then 1st finger, and then 4th finger, and then 1st finger, and then 5th finger, and then back down to the 1st finger, 4th finger, 1st finger, and then to the 2nd finger. Wonderful. So the idea for these notes are natural, E natural, G natural, A natural, C natural. And for those of you at home that did notice me go from that last note to here, what we exhibited was C major. We took our C down a half step, so we got the major 7th, which would have sounded like this. But we don't want a C major 7. We want a C dominant 7. Oh, that's a C minor. So I used the 3rd. 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. And then back down. So here's the basic format. If you're playing at home and you have a looper pedal, amazing. I would say finding some sort of C major. Click that in so you got your own. Go online and find some sort of measure which is in just blue C that has just that. I could put one in the link of this description for us as well. And the idea is once that starts playing, you'd play a so this is a walking blues. C, E, G, A, C, A, G, E, C. Cool. Nice, dude. You have fun today?
Yes, I
Groovy.
did. Yes,
So
I did.
the takeaway is we're really just getting away from just doing what we did last week with using that one finger. Now that we're comfortable, we're building up muscle mass all the way through here. Remember, if you got 5, 10, 15 minutes, that's going to make your fingers a lot stronger. Cleaning windows all day will definitely do that. When you're doing this next thing, going up and down, up and down, up and down, go slow. You don't have to be right away. When you do this, you are actually going to thank yourself in the future. Try it without playing anything, and then try it with playing something. Do it with the spider exercise, alternating them, right? on that note and do 2 notes. So then they wouldn't just be quarter, quarter, quarter. It would be 8th note, 8th note, 8th note, bum, 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 bum.
Just to get the walking
Just
down.
to get the walking down. And you can have bum, 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 bum. Whatever you want to do it. Just as long as one of your fingers,
One of my brains.
one of your brains works on the chord. Right on. Thanks for joining us today. See you next week.